Hey guys, Hastings here, and welcome to episode 2 of Mods On. If you don't know how this series works, I'll put a link in the description down below and you can check out episode 1 while I explain what this series is all about. For those of you that do know what this series is about, you'll know that I've got my completely standard blade here, and we're going to set some laps in it and see what sort of time we can do, and then I'll catch up with you in a minute. As we come on to the first lap here, it sort of had an experimental warm-up lap. Decided to do a bit of a different format this week, or this time. I'm going to show you each lap attempt until the moment that I mess up, or if it's a good lap, I'll show you the whole lap, because quite a few of the cars are quite hard to drive, and when you're weaving in and out of the chicanes, the hay bales I put in, it's quite likely that I do make quite a lot of mistakes on this track. Hopefully that will be something that becomes sort of less and less frequent as I get used to the track. Now this car, it was quite a stable car, it's quite a nice car to drive. It's very understeery, which is not something I would have thought I'd say about a muscle car. This blade is actually a very quick muscle car. It's one of the fastest in the class in my opinion. That's why I have one in my garage. As I said in the first episode, I will be using my personal cars to start with because they're the ones I already have upgrades for. And then we can move on and I'll buy some experimental vehicles, maybe some vehicles that are a bit silly. See if we can get like the Golf Caddy in and things like that. This last hairpin was really nasty for the blade because it understeered so much. You had to really rip the handbrake. But we got our first clean lap there, so we've got our benchmark in, so we can push the car a lot harder for the next few laps, knowing that we've got a decent lap in reserve. And it was kind of hard to push this car a lot harder because it's so stable, so understeery. It doesn't really wheel spin, so just driving it round is kind of as good as it's gonna really get. You don't really get much benefit from putting your foot down a bit more out of the corners. It doesn't really go sideways, so you can keep it full throttle anyway. Although that is a problem. I don't like it when you hit the hay bales. I'm not saying that, not many cars do. But as we come on to the next lap, we get through these hay bales quite nicely. And this first corner, it was also really struggling with, because as you come around that tight left-hand bit, it was just steering off wide and hitting the barrier on the outside quite a lot. It was quite slow over the bridge. It was quite a lot slower than the Dukes we had last time out. But again, a lot of the upgrades for this car will be engine, transmission, for all the cars. In fact, the biggest benefit from the upgrades you put on is in relation to acceleration and speed. And we're running very wide out there, nearly took out that stop sign, that's the one. But yeah, this car, it really wasn't very nice to drive through the slow corners because it just understeered so much. There was a few hairpins on the track. Really did not like the hairpins. But around here, it was very stable, very quick through the quick sections. A weird characteristic of this car is it always felt like you go quicker through the chicanes, especially that end one there. And it was infuriating because every time you'd go through and you think, no, I could have gone quicker through there. The next lap, you'd try and go quicker. You think, nah, I could have gone quicker through there. And then you'll end up clipping the hay bale like I did earlier on and sending the car into orbit. This lap I failed very early on, so we're just going to move on. Let's clip the tyre bundle on the inside. Second lap, and we're taking a bit of a wider berth, being nice and cautious through there. Of course, we've had a bit of extra lap to learn the car a bit more after I had to finish that lap, as it was already rubbish. It was no point selling rubbished. It was an invalid lap. It wasn't going to be very quick, so there was no point showing the end of it because I'd already crashed. But no, it was quite a nice car to drive. I personally really like my personal blade, but back there, very sideways. The only time I got this car sideways, like six laps including the warm-up lap, that was the only time that I managed to get it sideways, apart from in the hairpins when I was having to use the handbrake, obviously. But as we're coming down on the final lap now, flying down towards the tyres and the tight section, it was again flying in towards the hairpin, and I think that's the hairpin? The chicane even? I do know my corners, honestly. Flying into the chicane, and it was, I don't know, it wobbled about a little bit, I think, and I've really gone so slowly through there. It's absolutely abysmal. But I'll catch up with you for the fully upgraded car in just a sec.
Hey guys, I'm back again, and I've got my fully upgraded blade. That's the one. Crikey. Mind blank for a second. As per usual, it is fully upgraded with all the engine, suspension, brakes upgrades, everything that makes a difference, including the spoiler on the back. And also, of course, because it's a personal vehicle, you've got to have your own visual upgrades. I've de-chromed the front grille, the front bumper, and if I can get the camera there, the back grille. I've also put in, it's probably most noticeably, the triple intake bug catcher, and I've also got a roll cage in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do my laps, and I'll catch up with you in a minute.
Coming on to the first flying lap, and already I've noticed that this car is just so much quicker in a straight line. Obviously I should be quicker in this car relative to the standard blade anyway, because it's my personal car and I do drive it quite a lot, especially in muscle races. I do tend to favour it over the Dukes. I think the Dukes has got a bit better brakes, but this has got better traction. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the main difference between the car. They're quite close in terms of acceleration and top speed. At least they are when they're fully upgraded. I think the standard Dukes is a bit quicker than the standard blade. Very nearly took that sign out in the standard car, did take it out in the upgraded car. So there's an upgrade for you, but didn't miss the sign. Not we were particularly trying to hit the sign, but you know, Silverline is all that. So this lap isn't perfect. I've gone very sideways there. So it's a bit of a scruffy lap, but it's always good to get a banker in early. We got a nice clean lap with the standard car a minute ago, and we got that first lap in. So it's always good to get the first lap in, because once you've got this first lap in, I'm saying first lap in quite a lot. You're going to get the first lap in, so you've got the first lap in, and then once you've got the first lap in, you can get a nice banked time even, and then you can push it a lot harder from the second lap onwards. Going over the bridge, and this is where I think we're going to make up most time in the car. Probably here and down towards the tyres. You're just going to be quicker because of the upgrades, the engine upgrade, the turbo upgrade, the transmission upgrade. I've said it so many times before already, and we're only in episode 2. But yeah, up the hills, in the straights, that's where we're going to really make up this time. Second lap in a row, take the sign up. Got a personal vendetta against that sign. Again, this car is quite understeering, but it's got the power, so you can sort of try and counter-steer it by booting it and sticking the tail out a little bit. It's a much more balanced car than the standard blade, and it went a hell of a lot quicker through there. I'm not actually sure if the suspension upgrades make a performance difference, but judging by the way that I could take that last chicane, I think they might do. It might just be some sort of placebo effect, or maybe the roll cage improves stability, or it might be the spoiler or the increased traction. I don't know. There's definitely something that makes it more stable through the chicanes, because it felt it anyway. Again, like I said, it might be a placebo effect, but it just seems so much quicker through the chicanes, making it past the tyres, and it hasn't changed that much because it still clips exactly the same tyre bundle. So we're going to move on to the next lap. I think I actually crashed again on that lap, so I didn't really want to show the rest of it. This corner, still didn't like the car. The car didn't like the corner even. It was the same problem with the standard Dukes. You'd turn in and it'd be fine on the first right bit, and then you go around a very tight left-hander, and it'd just sort of understeer wide. It wasn't a fast enough corners for you to be able to sort of keep the car balanced. You couldn't really just put the power down. A little bit sideways out there. That was a characteristic of this car. A lot of cars do go sideways up there because of the camber of the corner. Just about missed the sign there, same as the standard car on a few occasions. But no, we've already taken it out, so it's good to see that the council are getting their signs back and fixed nice and quickly. There was a few times that I get in this car quite sideways, which was quite relaxing. Relaxing? Relieving. I don't know. What is the phrase? But yeah, we've messed up there, so we're going to move on to our next lap as well. This car doesn't like hitting the hay bales. Yeah, what was I saying about getting the car sideways? It was quite nice to get it sideways. I may have messed up my words a minute ago, but it was just a nice feeling in this car because it felt like it should have a lot of power. It should be getting some wheel spin. And when it's just really stable and boring and understeering everywhere, it's not really the type of car you want to be driving from a muscle car. Oh, excuse me. You really do just want a little bit of excitement from your muscle car. It should be big and loud and American and be fantastically fast in a straight line and wheel spin everywhere. And you just didn't get that from the standard Dukes, albeit it was a pretty quick muscle car. It's one of probably the quickest standard cars, and upgraded as well. It's probably one of the quickest upgraded cars. And we'll find out how it does compare to other cars later on in this series, but obviously we'll just be able to compare it to the Dukes. Took a very wide line through that chicane. I said earlier about being able to go quicker through the chicanes. You could go quicker through the chicanes if you got it right, but it was a lot harder to get right. So I'll catch up with you in a minute. after a nice few laps there and let you know the times. The standard car did a time of 1 minute 7.602. The fully upgraded car did a time of 1 minute 2.797. That resulted in a gain of just over 4.8 seconds. That means that the gain was 0.7 of a second more than the Duke's, and the standard time was also over a second quicker, and the fully upgraded time was over 2 seconds quicker. So the Blade goes top of our 2-car table for now anyway. We'll see what we can do next week. So until then, Hastings out. Goodbye.